Hello everyone who forgets about long-term projects and then suddenly wakes up in the middle of the night thinking, I gotta finish the thing! That's not what's happened here, by the way. I am BorderWise, and welcome back to Battleship Diary, in From the Depths. I don't remember what number episode this is. Presumably it has a number. I do believe maths as a whole would collapse if it had no number whatsoever. But anyway, so this is what we ended up with last time. Our big, risky big thing still doesn't really have a name. The problems that are emerged last time is actually partially to do with the limit of APS shells, because this thing spits out so many little shells that I suspected, I didn't actually check to see for sure, but I suspect that a lot of those shells were despawning simply because so many of them were made. Like, the RPM on all these guns is quite significant, so 769.5 RPM, and that's times 6, and then 606.7, that's times 4, and then you have 29.2 times 4 times 2, and 43.7 times 4 times 2, and then you have 410.2 times 4 times 2. So, honestly, that probably, seeing here, let's go, where is it, performance? No, MISC, right. APS projectile limit is about 800 shells. I don't want to turn that up all the way, really, because, like, this thing fighting is laggy enough as is. So, I wanted to see what weapons I could replace on here that is not APS. Because as it turns out that, like, you can't, as good as APS is, on something this sized, you probably should mix it up a little bit. So, we're going to go through what I've done, my little experimentation, and then there's going to be a follow-up video to this. I decided not to include it in this because it's going to be too long. I mean, come on now. But we will have to go look at things. So, there's a lot of extra things here. So, first off, I'm doing the thing that I tend to do, which tends to, well, it annoys people a little bit, and I know it's not good, which is like self-contained laser turrets, and the reason I've done this is because that just means I can just slap them in with the little CRAMs guns are, and that's all good. So this is one way of doing it, I guess. So, what's a good thing to shoot at? Let's shoot at a flying squirrel. Did I remember to turn on God mode? Yes, I did. So we've got continuous lasers there, and they've also got CRAMs implanted in there, so they can just go bzzzt, bzz, 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 bzz. And they're okay, they're not great, but in particular they allow that, they're better than the regular CRAMs at zapping annoying things, as lasers tend to be. And when you stack them like this, they do a pretty decent job. And zap, zap, zap goes the flying squirrels. Perfect, perfect. And there's a whole, multiple iterations of this. So here we have the 3x3 lasers again. I believe these are... these are 4Q lasers. Which is, I don't know, pretty similar, but, like, also not so much. So there you go, just zap, zap, zap. I like these because, you know, 4Q lasers are just kind of fun. They go zap, zap, zap. And they do damage, more damage than 0Q lasers, although they have less armor piercing. So there is that. They go pew pew pew. Also more accurate, so... Honestly, I probably should have gone with these, to be perfectly honest. See, they just absolutely barbecued that squirrel right there. But... ended up going with something slightly different, and we'll get to that in a second. Man, I love 4Q lasers, they're good. By the way, in case anyone's wondering, like, having a whole bunch of separate laser turrets, the only real advantage is redundancy. I've made a whole video on that. These do way better against small, squishy targets. What the hell? Oh, I didn't even turn God mode on. Hey, they did very well then. So, you go phase out of existence, please. And we'll move up here. And then I was messing around. We'll start with the lasers first, so... one thing I wanted to do with the lasers was I wanted to see if the tallest guns on here, or, yeah, I wanted to see if, like, we could replace them with lasers and, like, you know, just you scale anything up in From the Depths is going to do a pretty decent job. I believe these are 1Q lasers, unless I am mistaken. And again, self-contained lasers, so... yeah, this is all 1Q lasers. But I didn't go with these simply because, well, of course, because they're lasers, they don't do well against anything smoked. So, what shall we do here? Let's go with the Aquila. So, they go zap. So that first volley does pretty well, but you can see it kind of drops off a little bit. Doesn't do too badly, but, actually, this is going... let's see. Yeah, you can see that it, like, I don't know, it's doing okay. Not great. Not great. So I decided not to do this, simply because, like, at this scale, you're better off with, like, different weapons of that size. So... is this thing not even firing? It is firing at us. Great. Actually, it is doing pretty well. I should, like, just keep that in mind later. Because, I guess, just going absolutely nuts on the damage does make a fair amount of sense. Damn, that is a lot of damage, actually. It's done over 400. I think possibly the fact that these things are, what do you call it? It's actually setting a metal thing on fire. That is impressive. Yeah, so I decided not to go with these, or at least not for now. Like, that test was better than I remembered, so... we're just going to park you out there. We're going with something different for the really big guns. Then I got into the minigun laser. Well, I've not invented minigun lasers, but I have, I felt like it. That's basically it. And I believe these are full Q lasers. This wasn't super good. This is mostly for rule of cool. Now we've gone a little crazy. So in case anyone's wondering like how to make these, yeah, it's just like, as it turns out, like weapons on spin blocks that are on turrets can get controlled by the local weapon controller, and it's just fine. They do okay. They're also all very quiet, simply because they're very fun to watch, by the way. I forgot I, like, labeled these as rainbow colors. I kind of forgot to do that. I should have kept that. Damn it! And they still do pretty decently against the flying squirrels. The individual damage of each laser, by the way, is, like, pretty bad. But as it turns out, you can stack weak lasers and they do kind of okay. There's probably math you can do to determine, like, which point they are optimal. But this isn't the one I ended up going with. I went with these things right here. So these are pretty much the same thing, but they're continuous. And I seem to recall I did change them a little bit. So... did I, though? Alright, so these things are basically the same, except they're continuous. And they go... vzz. And I don't know what it is. I think it's just because, like, if you stack... continuous lasers like this, like, there's a minimum amount of damage they can do. If they do at least one damage per pulse, which is 40 times per second, by the way, the damage can actually ramp up quite quickly, and with a higher armor piercing than you can get with a pulse laser. My goodness, that's very on fire. So for these laser miniguns, like, I would recommend, like, going with a continuous laser, and it's just kind of fun. And does just great, actually. Quite fun. There's no particular reason to do this. I'm just leaning into the, like, having nice, wacky fun here. But these are what I ended up going with. I, again, probably should change that. I should probably make a more sensible laser just in general. But one of the advantages of just separate redundant laser systems like this is that they don't actually use that much power. So the power use of this big one is 2,340, which is... nothing if you're lugging around big injector engines like our risky big thing is. So, now we get to talk about the CRAMs. So, let's see, 8. So, this is my first attempt. It's just single 2D CRAM. And these are not bad. Not bad at all. But I was testing these things against the Gimle and the Davidos and stuff like that. Gmodisms kind of stuff. And single-shot crams really don't do well against anyone with a decent diff CWIS setup, because, you know, it's just one shell, and they get popped really regularly, so this not really making the cut. And then I decided, like, alright, let's try some decoys here. So, I basically just, I had a prefab lying around already for, like, little deck guns, which I just crazy glued to the top here. And, actually, you know what I really should do? I should show you the difference here. Thankfully, I'm going to spawn in the Gimle rather than the Davidos, because the Gimle, as big and fat as it is, it does spawn in a little bit quicker than the Davidos does, simply because the Davidos is so bloody enormous. A little reminder, by the way, that this risky big thing is almost certainly not going to be able to beat the Davidos because it's just too big. And I don't want to build something on the same scale. I'm building too much stuff at the moment anyway. That's my defense, and I'm sticking to it. So, Gimle. Over here, Twin God. Patiently wait 3 million years for it to load in. Do 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 do. Mama shark do 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 do. Baby shark do 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 do. Daddy shark do 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 do. Avocado do 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 do. I do like when you spawn this thing, like I don't know, you like end up looking straight at this sign right here. That's always kind of fun. And I have spawned it up in the air, but that's okay. So Gimle spawns in. And the problem with just having single-shot CRAMs... What the hell just happened? I think... Hold on. I think these things are set up on staggered fire, but it kind of... I actually kind of hate the whole staggered... the fire synchronization. I prefer the older firing delay thing, because the firing delay was actually just more reliable. The synchronized fire tends to stuff up unless you get the results at the setup actually perfect, and I don't care for that one bit. So that's the problem with just trying to make like single shot Doom CRAM. You basically end up needing to make something so massive that it can't really do much at all. Actually, blocks did come off there. That's impressive. Alright, so I sung the whole Baby Shark song. Basically just to do that. Where's that? That is with decoys. And... okay, yep. So now we get to spawn in the Gimle again. And just for giggles, I'm going to spawn it this way. Just because I can. Like so, and you'll see that having small, crappy CRAMs is actually kind of helpful. Like, I was rather skeptical of the idea for the longest time, but there are certain situations when you're facing, like, direct input fed, like, diff rod CWIS, and to a lesser extent missile interceptors, where having decoys is actually kind of handy. So... one thing I do want to mention here is that these guys do not have flash suppressors on them, but the main gun does, which is why its shell speed is slightly slower. These things are controlled by their own local weapon control, so they don't stuff up the accuracy of the main gun. So yeah, what happens here is that these guys fire first, and then you get the diff rods all kind of firing at once. You get it to blow their load, so to speak, and then the synchronized fire stuffs up horribly. So you can see why I didn't end up going with these. And then there's a whole cycle where they just waste your friggin' time and don't fire. So in the highly unlikely event the devs are watching this, please put like staggered firing delays back into the game, because I would really appreciate that. And ta-da! So get the diff rods to fire too early at something pointless, and then it goes just fine. By the way, the Gimle also does this. That's what these little tiny CRAMs here are for. It's what these mortars are kind of for as well, is essentially being able to counter itself. Let's see if it actually manages it again. So, interceptors are being launched, diff rods are being launched. And they actually managed to do something. Fairly big chunk of stuff. Beautiful. Okay, so this is the point where I'm like, alright, decoys aren't absolutely the way to go. So, moving right along. Where were we? Here we go. Ships. Whoops. No, prototypes. Risky big thing. So, date. So, plus decoys. And then I finally got around to making proper 3D CRAM, because here's the thing with CRAM cannons. If you're prototyping just what kind of shell combinations work well, save time, make it 2D, because then you can make the 3D version later, and it's all good. So this is pretty good, and this is aesthetically pleasing as well as kind of effective. These are triple-barreled CRAM cannons, however, only one of them occupies the lower turret space. The others are just tiny little CRAMs that are just hiding out in the turret. And the joy of this is that they're all synchronized. So you see, this is ID5, ID6, it fires after ID5, and this fires after ID6. And so that means that when these things fire, it's always like 1, 2, 3. And the first 2 shells cause an enemy ship to waste its slow-firing Sea Whiz, assuming it has any. Just spat on my monitor. That was disgusting. I must be excited. And then over here... But, alright, screw it. We might as well just do this. And back to over here. Back to reality. Hey, there goes gravity. I'm very musical today. Hopefully the songs I'm singing are not clashing with whatever music I put over this. Oh yeah, by the way, all the music you hear in these videos comes from the YouTube audio library, so I can highly recommend. There's some pretty good tunes on there. And do 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 ba da 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 meow 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 meow. The test will begin right now. Let's see how the CRAMs do. I spawned the gimlet underwater. So, elevating guns, and they go bang, bang, and bang. So following these guys in, watching the first shells that go off there, you'll see that they kind of wasted a whole bunch of these things. And then, yeah, there's a timed fusel. I really love AP timed shells in general for both CRAM and frag, and these things exploded underneath and have successfully poked holes. What did this do? Okay, that didn't do that much. What did this do? That didn't do that much. Oh, it's already threatening a LAM system under there, so that's pretty good. Let's see what bits are falling off here. Oh, it did poke a hole through a laser system and took out a steam turbine. This is what Doom Frag is wonderful. Alrighty, fire again. So 1, 2, 3. And this is what you get if your diff rods fire too early. And that didn't do a hell of a lot of damage, but it did enough. It allowed one of them to get through. So, honestly, I think that's a pretty good way to make a CRAM cannon. There is another... I've been messing around with... Yep, spoiler alert, I've been messing around on another project where I'm building another battleship, one that is kind of more conventional, and mucking around with the idea of having, like, a different kind of decoy shell, one that is just fully packed and just has a huge amount of health. So, there. And disabled that. So these are the CRAM cannons. I'm like, yeah, if we're going with CRAMs, this is what we're going with, because they can put a dent on the gimlet, which means that they is good CRAM setup. So, that is that all we can talk about here? So, loading in, whoops. Back over here. Oh, folders are fun. Folders are so fun. Folders are the funnest thing in the world. Alright, so, so we got minigun lasers, and we have these CRAM cannons, and so I've made a version of this which has them, and also tidied up a little bit. I haven't changed much else. I've added an extra pair of injector engines in there just to make sure the lasers stay powered. And, yeah, here it is. It uses pretty much exactly the same. It's got the minigun lasers down here. They are not rainbow themed, sorry to say. But they do go... Vrrr. Let's just demonstrate that. Let's go ding, 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 ding. Okay, they're on weapon group 3. Bzzz. And they actually do kind of alright. I believe it's just the Sea-Whiz that does stuff, so let's do something like that. And spawn in a whole mob of flying squirrels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see what happens. Oh dear. I seem to have stuffed up what's controlling these main guns. I think there's still a Sea-Whiz controlling it. And that's a problem. Hang on. Time to do some maintenance. This is a... Damn it. I did it wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4... Right, so this is a great opportunity to just quickly go over the innards of this thing again, because I certainly forgot, and so definitely other people have also forgotten, probably. Please hurry up and shrink. Okay, so this is... Sea-Whiz 1, main 1. This should be connected to main 3, damn it. And also, over here, this should also be... main 3, not entirely sure why this is the case. No, I know exactly why this is the case. It's because I'm stupid, and I did. This is one of the problems with having giant projects like this, is that it's easy to miss stuff. And in particular, if you're prototyping, if you just have like sheer force of habit defaults with it, you're gonna have problems. You're gonna have problems, mate. Put a shrimp on the Barbie. I don't know why I turned Australian there. We've got shrimp in New Zealand, but I don't know, I don't think we put them on the Barbie, do we? If there's anyone here watching who is also from New Zealand, tell me if you put shrimp on the Barbie. I've never put a shrimp on a Barbie. Not a barbecue or a Barbie doll. What the hell was I doing now? I've just been rambling like an insane person. Alright, now we need to go find this. Right, so these should be connected to the Sea-Whiz, and here you can see where I've just kind of duct tape extra engines in. Does this have enough? Yes, we do have enough fuel, good to know. And over here as well, this should be Sea-Whiz 1. I thank you very please. Perfect. Okay then. And this thing, like, I should probably also demonstrate the CRAM cannons and stuff like that. So, and, like, I'm just gonna throw it at... what's a fun thing to throw it at? Let's throw it at a Megalodon. That's fun. And, while these crazy kids are having fun, I will be testing version 9 of the Risky Big Thing against version 8, just to see who wins. Alright, let's follow the CRAMs in because that's fun. Megalodon did not spawn in a means that was fair, I do have to say. But yonder comes the big shell. Yonder comes the big shell. And it almost missed. Also, what's happening to torpedoes? I've kind of neglected torpedo defense a little bit. Is anything shooting at the torpedoes? No, they're not. Are the torpedoes actually going for the thing at all? I think they are, actually, so... Can they catch up, though, is the question. Whee! So I think this does work better, if only because it doesn't spawn so many shells that they despawn, which is a bit of a issue. Also, I've got to tweak the bloody Sea-Whiz controllers to not like aim underwater at all, because that's annoying. Really, I should give the lasers their own AI entirely, but I have not done that because I'm silly. Also, this fight is very, very laggy, and that's a problem. There is shell number 1. Whee! Splat! Oh, isn't this delightfully laggy? Can't tell which shells are the big ones. Okay, that was probably a big one. Alright, so that does it for, like, this overview of what's been happening, for Battleship Diary. It's, I don't know, stuff is happening, and I didn't want to, like, make this all crammy, as per usual. As per usual, I guess it's per usual, or not. But alas, on this scale, Gmodism might have a point. On this scale, CRAM is really good. And it's just really good at shooting at big stuff. Also, the fact that this thing doesn't really have any active defenses apart from its seawers doesn't seem to, like, hinder it that much, because it's just, like, really bulky. I mean, it also has a crap ton of missile interceptors, which, is very helpful. Because it intercepts missiles. And against large stuff like this, against large stuff which isn't that heavily armored, missiles are a really serious threat, because you can't really dodge them. Unless you move really damn fast. Okay, yeah, this is going much faster than last time. Also, yes, I know, the Megalodon is about 1 million materials cheaper than this, so it's not a fair fight. But anyway, so, given that this video is like already close to half an hour long, I am now going to go off and record version 9, which is what you're looking at now, fighting version 8, and we're gonna see what happens. And that'll be a really good time. It'll be science, it'll be fun. So, thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Support me on Patreon, or YouTube membership if you like. It really helps, and there's fun perks in it for you. Thank you to all my current supporters, and I will see you next time in From the Depths, Battleship Diary. Farewell!